Most of what keeps people stuck, making reality creation seem like a distant dream, isn't circumstance. It's a mental trap. Invisible patterns of perception that quietly organize how we think, feel, and choose. Let me ask you something. Are you the one who's always helping, even when you're exhausted? Even when you know you should have said no? Still helping, still showing up, still holding everything together. And now you're not only tired, you are stuck. And it's time to stop telling yourself this is just you being generous. No, you are in a mental trap. A trap where rescuing, over responsibility, and misplaced loyalty slowly turn into self abandonment. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. But here's the danger. If you don't dismantle it, it will quietly dismantle you, making it next to impossible for creating your desired reality. In this video, I am unpacking the mental trap that keeps the helper types from creating their desired reality and the psychology behind why helping can turn into harm. Because if helping others is costing you your peace, if it's keeping you from living your desired reality, you are in fact inside a trap. Most people don't stay in misaligned jobs, roles, or relationships because they're weak. They stay because they're in a mental trap quietly shaping their identity. And that identity is in fact shaping their reality. Somewhere along the way, beliefs formed that sounded like truth. Being valuable means always being available. Being loving means always carrying people's emotional SHIT. Being spiritual means enduring nonsense and foolishness in the name of morality. Being strong means staying somewhere that depletes your soul. And once those beliefs fuse with identity, they stop feeling like thoughts. They feel like who you are. And that's how a mental trap becomes a lived reality. I call this the self-abandonment trap. Not because you don't care, but because your identity as the helper has quietly started creating a reality where you simply disappear. The self-abandonment trap is what happens when helping becomes identity, when rescuing becomes proof of worth, when overfunctioning becomes your strategy for belonging, when enduring dysfunction becomes your badge of morality. And at that point, helping isn't generosity. It's survival mode with good branding. And once your identity is fused to being the strong one, leaving doesn't feel like discernment. It feels like betrayal. But here's the deeper truth. You can't create your desired reality from an identity built on self-erasure, from shrinking into the shadows. The trap isn't that you care. The trap is that you think caring requires self-abandonment. Recently, I wrote an email that became my reality shift. It wasn't dramatic or reactive. It wasn't like I was doing the keyboard gangster thing. It was just clarity. I have been a part of a long-standing professional engagement. It was meaningful work with the potential for high impact. But over time, alignment began to thin. Important conversations weren't happening. Critical actions fell by the wayside. Follow through, there was none of that. Communication, I don't even think they knew what the word meant. But I noticed something even more important. I was slipping into an old identity. The one where I waited patiently for others to do their part. Where I bridged the gaps I didn't even create. Where I constantly found myself regulating my nervous system around their dysfunction. Continuing to carry what others refused to name. And that's when I saw it. I was in a mental trap. A mental trap that wasn't created by the dysfunction of others. Oh no, it was actually created by a self-imposed trap. Created by an old helping identity I was slipping back into. It was the one, the rescuer, the stabilizer, the emotional shock absorber. And that identity was literally shaping my current reality. So guess what I did? I paused. And instead of asking, how do I fix this? I asked, what reality am I reinforcing by staying in this professional engagement? And that question changed everything. There was, in fact, a shift. I named my disappointment. I named the impact it was having on me. And I set a time frame to get back in alignment with my desired reality. Not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Because reality creation isn't about visualization, it's about identity alignment. It's about aligning with my core values. So if my core values are audacity, poise, abundance, influence, well-being, soul satisfaction, and effortless action, then my decisions have to reflect them. You see, in this situation, audacity reminded me I don't shrink to stay seated at a misaligned table. Poise guided me. I can speak clearly without venom. Abundance reframed the situation as every clean no makes space for a richer yes. Influence affirmed people learn how to treat me by how I treat myself. Well-being checked in and said no more secondhand chaos, Paya. And soul satisfaction grounded me. I don't have to rescue to feel valuable. And finally, effortless action reminded me if it requires me to struggle, no, it is not mine to carry. Because reality creation isn't about pushing harder. It's about aligning cleaner. So guess what? I wrote that email and sent it, clear and direct. I was committed to the work, but not committed to misalignment with my desired reality. And when I hit send, the tension released between who I was at that moment and who I was becoming. Because the real shift wasn't external. It was internal. I chose not to fake alignment, choose tolerance with strength, call self-abandonment helping. I didn't burn a bridge. I stopped crossing one that was structurally unsound. That was not sabotage. It was reality creation at its finest. You see, here's the uncomfortable truth. The moments you silence your body, override your values, minimize your truth, or numb your intuition to stay somewhere that no longer aligns or even with you or with your soul, you are in fact creating a reality where your needs do not matter. And then you wonder why your desired reality feels so distant. You cannot create peace while abandoning yourself in the process. That is a mental trap. So here's the deal. If something in your life feels heavy, if you are constantly holding what's yours, if helping has quietly become harmful, don't ask, how do I fix this? Instead ask, what identity is this creating? What identity is creating this reality? Because mental traps don't break with anger, they break with identity shifts. And the moment you stop abandoning yourself to belong, you stop creating a reality built on self-sacrifice, and you start creating one built on alignment. And that is how you step into your desired reality.